of the Denville Township Board of Education is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Daily Record and/or Star Ledger or Morris County, has been delivered to the Township Clerk, and has been posted on the bulletin board of the Board of Education office and at each of the school buildings in the district. Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Segalis?
Here.
Dr. Aruna Ditasan?
Here.
Mr. Cass?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Capello?
Here.
Mr. Kim?
Here. All right, we'll go right into the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, looks like we have a number of special presentations coming up. March 11th is the preliminary budget. I'm sure we'll hear that through comments. So superintendent's comments, please.
Okay, next year's NJSBA conference, if you want to note, is October 21 through October 24. We did account for that when we planned our board meetings. We very excited to announce that we selected a student from Valley View to be our unsung hero, and that will be done at County College of Mars on Wednesday, March 20th at 5:30 p.m. It's the World's Awards presentation. You're all invited. I emailed the information to you today, but you may have already received it from school boards. And our fine recipient will be Mark Jean-Louis. And this is a great kid. I mean, he's literally the best basketball player I've seen come out of here in a while, and just a great kid. When we played Madison in the final, he was like unstoppable. There was nobody even close to being able to guard him or anything. And he played a great game. Just talk to him. He's just always such a nice kid with a big smile on his face. I was happy that he was the one that was awarded. Also, our Morris County Superintendents Association Leadership Award winner, who will be honored in May. That's not something that the board's invited to. That's what superintendents and principals. We do it every year in May, and his name's Quentin Fitzpatrick. So, two really nice kids that are going to be awarded get some recognition coming up in March and May. And that's it for my comments, except for I did update that major concerns document and added a fifth thing that is important. And if you get a chance, take a look at it. If anybody has questions, please make sure, to reach out and let me know if you want to talk about it. It was in the last email that I sent on Friday with my report. And that's it for my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Forte. Dr. Cullis, Assistant Superintendent's comments, please.
Kindergarten registration is open, so if you know anyone in your neighborhood or if in your family, please encourage them to go to denville.org and pre-register for kindergarten for the 24-25 school year. We currently have 144 students registered. Lakeview we have 64, Riverview 48, 9 in the flex zone, and 23 in preschool that will be placed at a later time. We started our celebration of Read Across America week today. We have many celebrations going on around the district, including many guest readers, including some in this room and our mayor. So hopefully you'll get to participate in some of those celebrations. This concludes Assistant Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Cullis. Ms. Gorowski, Business Administrator's comments, please.
2 comments. If you are intending to attend the Unsung Hero, please let me know and I can register you. The other comment is the county or the Department of Education has updated the calendar for the budget 24-25, and our original April 22nd board meeting needs to be rescheduled to accommodate the public hearing. The next available day that we are suggesting is April 29th. So we will change the April 22nd to April 29th for the public budget 24-25. If anyone has any objections, we can work work it out after the meeting, and if not, we can advertise for the April 29th public hearing.
Do we want to settle that now and just make sure all the board members are available on the 29th? I checked my calendar. It should be good. Okay for me.
A roll call, just in case, just to make sure. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're all good then. So let's make it official, April 29th then. Thank you. Ms. Gorowski, did you get all the submissions for the financial disclosure documents that were required by all board members?
Just missing one.
Okay, great. All right. At this point, at 7:36 p.m., we'll open a public discussion. Seeing no one in the chambers, is there anyone online that we see?
No one online.
Okay, and at 7:36, we'll go ahead and close open public comment section. And let's go straight into old business action to be taken. Dino, can you take us through old business, please?
I'd be happy to. If there are no objections, I move to approve items A, B, and C. A is the reports from January 2024. B are education reports of student enrollment, the health office, and one HIV case. And C are the minutes from our January meetings.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cass. Thank you, Mr. Capello. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Aidelis,
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Detasan,
Yes to everything except C. I abstain from the minutes.
Mr. Cass, Mr. Anderson,
Yes to everything. I abstain on C3.
Mr. Capello,
Yes.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business action to be taken. Dr. Unajatasan, can you take us through section A, personnel, please?
Yes, if there is no objection, I'd like to move items A1 through P in the addendum. And there are several for book audit and placements. There is a couple of resignations, and then there are several items 2 through 11, several of which is family leave act, family medical leave approvals, and there is a job description for student support services, and also sidebar, DA sidebar for registered behavior technician. And yep, that should be it.
I'll second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Aidelis,
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Detasan,
Yes.
Mr. Cass,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Capello,
Yes.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. Okay, moving on through the agenda. Instruction and program. Dr. Moore, can you take us through that, please?
Yes, I'd like to move the following resolutions under instruction and program workshops and expenses is number 1, A through G. Number 2 is tuition reimbursement for school nurse. 3 is the approval of the attached field trips. And 4 is the approval of a student to observe at Riverview Elementary School.
Dr. Moore, we have an item on the addendum too, please.
Number 5 is another student to complete an observation at Lakeview Elementary School.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Dr. Unajatasan. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Sidelis,
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Jatasan,
Yes.
Mr. Cass, Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Capello,
Yes.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. Section C, Finance. Mr. Anderson, if you could take us through that, please.
Sure. If there are no objections, I'd like to move under finance items 1 through 8 as a block, 1 through 9 as a block, including a donation, addendum to some of our grant applications, submission acceptance of our grant for the Student Development Association in New Jersey DOE in the amount of $38,451. The approval of the attached non-resident tuition agreement. Board approved the attached standard operating procedures and internal controls, as well as another donation and an award to Delta Dental for a 2-year contract. And then the district placement for student as per IEP. And then finally, board approved the checklist.
Could I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? I just would like to thank everyone who's making donations to the district. So greatly appreciated. Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Sidelis,
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Jatasan,
Yes.
Mr. Cass, Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Capello,
Yes.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. Mr. Cass, before we take us through operations, is your mic working okay? Mr. Anderson, if we could. Thank you. Mr. Cass, if you could take us through operations, please.
I'll be glad to.
You gotta hold it down.
I was holding it down. It's defective, trust me. Okay, under operations, we're going to start with number 1.1, transportation, a resolution for the purchase of school vehicles with reserve funds. I think this is very important to help school districts out with a very expensive purchase when it comes up time to purchase some school buses. So anyhow, I'm going to read that for the record here. Whereas current New Jersey statute requires districts to use current budget operating funds to purchase school buses, and whereas this means that districts are not allowed to purchase school buses using funds from capital reserve accounts, and whereas districts who are ineligible for grants and subsidies are unable to purchase electric school buses because they are cost prohibitive, and recognizing that the current New Jersey statute allows districts to use school buses weight exceeding 25,000 pounds for up to 15 years, and recognizing that other New Jersey public entities, such as municipal governments, are currently able to purchase vehicles using capital reserve accounts. And whereas the Denville Board of Education requests that school districts be allowed to purchase vehicles for student transportation that includes and not restricted to electric school buses using funds from capital reserve accounts. Whereas the Delegate Assembly is the official policy-making body of the New Jersey School Boards Association, and whereas education-related policies resulting from prior Delegate Assembly and Board of Directors actions are codified in the New Jersey School Board Association Manual of Positions and Policies on Education, and now therefore be it resolved that the Denville Board of Education proposes the following new policy language for adoption by the Delegate Assembly and the inclusion in NJSBA's Manual of Positions and Policies on Education in Section 3100, Budget Planning, Preparation, and Adoption under the Accounts heading. The New Jersey School Board Association believes that all districts should be permitted to use funds from capital reserve accounts for the purchase of vehicles for student transportation that includes and not restricted to electric school buses. Resolved that this resolution be placed on the agenda for consideration at the May 18th, 2024 Delegate Assembly. I don't know if you wanted to have comments on that now before I go on to the other things, since it's an isolated and very important item.
Yeah, Mr. Cass, if we can just finish the second part of the agenda item, we'll get a second and then we'll open for discussion. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Under Building and Grounds, we have 3 items, so I'll refer you to the addendum also. 2.1 is that the board approved to award Lilich Corporation for the remediation of asbestos removal and pipe installation at Lakeview Elementary School in the amount of $9,250. Item 2.2 is to approve the initial submission to the Department of Education for the Riverview Elementary School toilet room facility project. The district is not seeking debt service aid, therefore the project is considered other capital projects. And then whereas the project is to be required to be submitted to the State Department of Education, the Denville Board of Education authorizes the business administrator to amend and submit amendments to the district's long-range facilities plan. Item 2.3, I'm asking the board to approve the initial submission to the Department of Education for the Riverview Elementary School sidewalk project. The district is not seeking debt service aid, therefore the project is considered other capital projects. Whereas the project is required to be submitted to the State Department of Education, the Denville Board of Ed authorizes the business administrator to amend and submit amendments to the district's long-range facilities plan.
I'll second.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I had a comment on the resolution, and you did a great job on this. After rereading it a few times there, I'm just wondering if we should, on the purchase vehicles for student transportation, that includes and not restricted to electric school buses. I think that's really a key item there, that we have flexibility. And when this recent cold snap that we've had throughout the country, especially in the northern states like Minnesota and Michigan, and I believe Maine too, there were several articles out there. They've had a real tough time with their electric school buses, with them breaking down during runs because of the batteries being, just running low very quickly because of the cold weather, and also not taking them longer to charge and everything. So that is an issue with those school buses that hasn't been really fully addressed yet. So I just think that, we got to give all the school boards flexibility on what type of vehicles suit them best.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate those comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, yeah, Mr. Kim, thank you for taking the lead on this and putting this together. I think it's really important, as it sounds like everybody else does for sure. One thing I just wanted to bring up, Steve and I ran into our Assemblyman Brian Bergen last week, and we mentioned that we were working on this. He suggested after we approve this tonight, we send him the language. He would be open to seeing if they could, get a bill sponsored, or at least start the process. And that way, maybe we can come at it by 2 directions. If they have a bill that's working its way through committee and school boards is advocating for it, it might be helpful. So I would just suggest that we do that after we approve this tonight.
Yeah, I have that on my list, and I'll email it. I'll copy James and Cliff on it when it gets set.
I would echo the thanks to Mr. Kim for pulling this together. I think we often think about legislative things as huge, big things. To me, this seems like a small common sense thing, right? I mean, it's nothing small in the legislature. Let's start with that. But nonetheless, I think relatively speaking, this is a very common sense thing. And I appreciate the way you've gone about it, working with school boards and getting the resolution pulled together. I think we've said generally as a board, we don't like to put resolutions together that really just are a statement. This is more than a statement. This is action we're asking to be taken. And we feel like this can move forward pretty quickly. So thank you for pulling it together.
I appreciate all the thanks. I want to echo the thanks to those who helped me with this. Like Dino, you helped me with some of the language here. Don, you made some comments early on as well. So, and especially Damaris. Damaris and I sat for like an hour or two working through some of these things as well. So I just hope that this sort of exemplifies that we could do more, in committee meetings. If something comes up, should we ask school boards, who is one of the largest board lobby groups, or lobby groups on behalf of boards of education, as to say, and so they have the money to talk to the legislators. So we just have to ask them what to say, and this seems like a no-brainer. So yeah, especially with the budget coming up and some of the difficulties, maybe this can give Ms. Gorowski some aid, but I don't know if we can have this in time. But thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Adelis,
Yes.
Dr. Abunajatasan,
Yes.
Mr. Cass,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Capello,
Yes.
Mr. Kim.
Yes. And that takes us right into the good of the cause. Any items for the good of the cause from board members?
I had something for the classroom space. Just want to let you know that if we want to do some type of a study on Nicole Drive for the feasibility of a new building, there will be two fees that we'll need to pay. One of them is to EI for $18,000 for them to conduct the study. But before that, we need to increase the survey to a higher level survey, including topography. The one we ordered for that 27 acres is like that typical kind that blocks out where the property is. He needs the topography as well. So that's another 14,000. So I put it on the agenda for finance to talk about. And I found out today. I just wanted to share it with everybody so you all know.
Thank you. Could you also ask them to look at feasibility on transportation or like garage being there as well? Is that something that you looked at?
That was actually in it. Yeah. The garage too.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I just had one quick question looking at the board report. Do we have a date yet for the INP meeting, like the committee meeting? Do we know when that's going to be? The document is blank, so that's why I was asking. March 7th. Okay. Thank you.
We have a finance meeting this Thursday after we get our state aid numbers. We have a finance meeting Thursday to go over the budget. And if we don't get our state aid numbers on time, because there's 48 hours after Tuesday night, then we'll move the meeting because there's no reason to have the meeting until we have the information.
I just wanted to throw out a few things. As we discussed during these school space considerations, the number for January was student enrollment was 1,700. I modified the numbers that I previously reported because I realized out of district placement wouldn't be appropriate to be included in these numbers. So we're at 1,700, and Dr. Grip's projection, as a reminder, is 1,675 to 1,735. As Dr. Forte mentioned, the Unsung Heroes ceremony, I went to it last year. I thought it was a fantastic ceremony. It is long, but it is open to all board members. So I actually volunteered to help out with that ceremony, so I'll be there regardless. And the delegate assembly, since we did pass this resolution, I would love to see one or more additional board members go to the delegate assembly, which will be at Mercer County College on Saturday, May 18th from 9 to 12. So if there are any other board members that are available, we could maybe commute our carpool down and attend that together. So anything else for the good of the cause? Okay.
Yes, I did have one thing.
Yes, please, Mr.
I'm the liaison for the Riverview PTA. So I was at the meeting, and Dr. Forte did just a great giving everybody an overview of what was going on in the district. Very well attended. This is my second tour of duty with that PTA. They do a phenomenal job, as do all the PTAs. And I just remind for those of you that may work for a company or able to do donations, they got their turkey tray coming up, and that's a big fundraiser for all the PTAs. So I know a lot of sports organizations contribute gift certificates and things like that, and a lot of corporations do. So, and the other thing that tagging back to Steve's presentation was that we have woodworking at the middle school no power tools. So safety is very important. But I told the PTA, I said, this really touches me personally because in 7th grade, that was my first A in school in woodworking, Mr. Unger's class. So it's so it must have been the family genes. My one uncle who was a carpenter, master carpenter in the Brooklyn Navy Yard during World War II. He didn't serve because he had to get those ships built and get them out to sea.
How about these for the highlights? I have congratulations to the two award winners from the middle school, and a reminder that March 11th we will have the preliminary budget presentation for 24-25.
Yeah, that looks good to me. If there are no other comments from board members, we'll go ahead to the second section of public comments. We'll open it up at 7:56 p.m.
No one on the computer either.
Okay. No one online and no one in the chamber, so we'll close public comments at 7:56 p.m. It looks like there's a need for an executive session so Mrs. Zadelis, if you could take us through that, please.
Sure. I move to convene an executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss, I believe, negotiations, legal, security, or some student or personnel issues. Minutes of this session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Second.
Yeas?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, we are in executive at 7:57 p.m. There will be no further voting after the executive session, so we'll be adjourning the meeting immediately after that. So thank you.